Tattoos have marked warriors, outcasts, and rebels long before they became a pop culture phenomenon. From sacred tribal rites in Polynesia and ancient Egypt to prison ink and modern celebrity trends, the art of tattooing has always told a deeper story. But how did these ancient symbols evolve into billion-dollar body art? Let's take a journey through time and skin to uncover the rich and rebellious history of tattoos. Ancient ink, tribal roots, and sacred symbols. Thousands of years before tattoos were considered a form of self-expression or rebellion in the West, they were deeply spiritual and ceremonial. In ancient tribal communities, tattoos weren't just body art, they were rites of passage, badges of honor, and marks of identity. In Polynesian culture, for example, tattooing was sacred. The word tattoo itself originates from the Polynesian word tatau, which mimics the sound of tapping the tattooing tools. These weren't random designs either. They told personal stories, symbolized genealogy, and displayed one's place in society. Warriors were adorned with intricate patterns that reflected their achievements and bravery. The pain endured during the tattooing process was seen as a test of strength and character. Meanwhile, in ancient Egypt, tattoos were associated with protection and fertility. Mummified remains of Egyptian women dating back to 2000 BCE show ink patterns on their lower abdomen and thighs, believed to be linked to childbirth and goddess worship. Across the ocean in indigenous North America, tribes like the Inuit and the Lakota used tattoos as spiritual protection or symbols of healing. Face tattoos, often misunderstood by colonizers, were markers of cultural pride and spiritual belief. Tattoos go global, from sacred to sailors. As trade routes expanded and empires collided, tattoos began moving across continents, and their meanings evolved. When Captain James Cook returned from his voyages to the South Pacific in the 18th century, he brought back tales of heavily tattooed Polynesians, and some of his crew even returned ink themselves. That sparked a trend among European sailors, who began getting tattoos to commemorate their journeys. A swallow for every 5,000 nautical miles sailed, an anchor for stability, a pig and a rooster on the feet to protect from drowning. Oddly enough, because those animals often survived shipwrecks floating in wooden crates. But while sailors helped popularize tattoos in the West, mainstream society saw them as dirty, criminal, or low class. Tattoos were associated with outcasts, sailors, prisoners, circus performers, and rebels. Victorian-era America and Europe saw tattooed individuals as curiosities. Heavily tattooed people were even showcased in traveling freak shows, drawing crowds and whispers. Yet, ironically, royalty secretly got inked too. King Edward VII reportedly had a Jerusalem cross tattooed on his arm during a visit to the Middle East. Even in this misunderstood era, tattoos kept crossing social boundaries. The duality of ink, both taboo and tempting, was growing. Ink behind bars, the prison code. During the 20th century, especially mid-century, tattoos took on another layer of meaning inside prison walls. They became coded language, communicating affiliation, personal beliefs, and life experiences in ways words couldn't. In American prisons, a teardrop under the eye could mean someone committed murder or lost a loved one. Spider webs on elbows often suggested long periods of incarceration. Gang tattoos became especially common, with groups like the Aryan Brotherhood, MS-13, or the Latin Kings using them to mark loyalty or rank. These tattoos were usually done with improvised tools, paper clips, guitar strings, pens, and showed incredible creativity under restriction. While these marks were sometimes misunderstood by the outside world, within prison culture, they served as history books written on skin. Unfortunately, the association between tattoos and criminality stuck. Even as mainstream culture slowly embraced tattoos, certain styles, especially those echoing prison art, were viewed with suspicion. The American Renaissance. Tattoos go mainstream. By the late 20th century, tattoos were inching into mainstream America. The 1970s and 80s marked a turning point. Influenced by the counterculture movement, more people started getting inked to protest norms and reclaim their bodies. Rock stars, bikers, and artists led the charge. Think Janis Joplin's wrist tattoo or the full sleeves sported by punk icons. Then came the boom in tattoo parlors and the evolution of the tattoo artist from underground craftsman to respected professional. Artists like Ed Hardy blended traditional American tattooing with Japanese techniques and storytelling, elevating ink into fine art. With improved hygiene standards and licensing laws, tattoos became safer and more accepted. By the 1990s and early 2000s, celebrities like Angelina Jolie, Dennis Rodman, and Eminem wore their ink loud and proud. MTV and VH1 featured tattooed bodies regularly. Pop culture flipped the switch. Tattoos weren't just for rebels anymore, they were cool. Reality TV, Instagram, and the social media era. If the 2000s cracked the door open, the 2010s kicked it wide open. Shows like Miami Ink, LA Ink, and Ink Master didn't just entertain, they normalized the tattoo process. Viewers got to see the emotional stories behind the art, the creative process, and the talent required. Suddenly, your average suburban teen saw tattooing as both artistic and aspirational. Then came Instagram. Tattoo artists started showcasing their portfolios on the platform, gaining international clients and viral fame. Styles evolved rapidly. Hyperrealism, watercolor, minimalist line work, and hand-poke techniques all exploded in popularity. Artists became influencers, and influencers got tattoos to boost their own street cred. At the same time, the demographic shifted. No longer were tattoos reserved for outcasts. Now doctors, lawyers, tech bros, and moms proudly rocked ink. It became about storytelling and personal meaning. Each tattoo had a why, and sharing that why online became part of the appeal. The cultural conversation, identity, respect, and appropriation. With tattoos now mainstream, new conversations emerged. One big one: cultural appropriation. As more people got tribal tattoos, Japanese sleeves, or Buddhist symbols without understanding their roots, indigenous communities spoke up. A Maori face tattoo isn't just cool, it's sacred, and when people take without knowing or respecting the meaning, that's not appreciation, it's theft. This opened up a wider discussion about who gets to wear certain ink and why. It forced people to confront the cultural weight behind some styles, sparking more thoughtful choices and a greater appreciation for history. Simultaneously, many indigenous people began reclaiming traditional tattoos, reviving lost rituals, and reconnecting with ancestors through ink. Today, tattoos are both fashion and ritual. They're birthday gifts, breakup therapy, tributes to lost loved ones, or markers of recovery. People celebrate sobriety, motherhood, transitions, and triumphs, all through ink. Military vets get unit numbers. Cancer survivors ink their scars. LGBTQ+ folks commemorate coming out. What started as ancient rites has returned to modern spirituality. If this history left its mark on you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own tattoo story in the comments below.